20 natural remedies. Heartburn, indigestion, high blood pressure. We could go up a little. Great. Okay, so here's where we're going to use some of the lemon, home remedies that can help with heartburn. And then I'm going to add a little bit into each one, if that's okay. So if you're dealing with heartburn, you can use lemon, which is high in vitamin C. Okay, and there are some other nutrients that are in lemon: magnesium, calcium, the Bs, the riboflavins, phosphorus. And you can also take a half to a quarter teaspoon, depending on, what your tolerance is, of baking soda in a half a cup of water. Okay, and that will relieve heartburn. And you'll burp up gas, a little bit of gas. It's going to help whatever's been blocked in your digestive system to start moving better. So that is a really good tidbit to have on hand, a heartburn. You can use ginger and lemon water, and honey is fantastic for that. High blood pressure. Now we're going to talk a minute with let's go up more back to the heartburn and high blood pressure. So
Sorry.
here's where, yeah, that's great. Yeah, no problem. So we're going to talk about a wonder drug right now, or a medicinal, and it's called garlic. Um, Garlic, oh my gosh, I can't say enough about garlic. Let's talk about using it for high blood pressure. Okay, and some people use what's called the Kiowa garlic, which has the odor taken out of it. I don't recommend that because that's a very important healing component to, to the whole herb. You want the whole, clove. But you can use fennel seed to help counteract the garlic. Just chew some fennel seeds, chew a little parsley, you could chew a little cilantro, but using garlic for high blood pressure is good. Let's stay on the garlic for a second. Let's say you have the condition in the shower, you get fungus on the feet, athletics feet. Oh, this works so well. You crush up garlic, just crush it up, and then put a little bit of olive oil in it, rub it. You want to crush it real fine, and you want to rub it on your feet. Leave it about 10-15 minutes. It will start pulling that bacteria. It'll start pulling any of the fungus out of your feet. You can soak it in warm water with the garlic as well. It's just a wonderful medicinal um, oh, herb to use. The other thing that I want to say, since I'm going to be going into all over the board a little bit on this, garlic oil. If you can make your own, but if you buy garlic oil, this is all I used when my children were little for an ear infection. 1 to 2 drops in each ear. But before you put the garlic oil in the ear, I'm going to tell you what to do. You take a little bit of hydrogen peroxide. You just take a little bit, squeeze it in with a cotton ball, put your head to the side. It will bubble up, okay? Plus, this helps to clear wax out of your ear, but not wax that's deep stuck in your ear. This is just if it's minor wax. And then you do the other ear, opposite ear, rinse it out. Even if you don't have an ear infection there, do the other one anyways, okay? And then you want to clean and clear that out, and then put 1 to 2 drops of garlic oil in each ear in a little cotton ball, okay, to keep the oil in. The oil will want to drain out. You want the oil to stay in. Again, that works as a natural type of antibiotic, but that's another option of how to use garlic. Okay, this is really a good one, I think, suffering from a hangover. And you can, you'll get a copy of this, but this is a real common thing. People the day after, or they want to know, oh my gosh, how do I get my body back into balance? So here's an idea of some drink with honey, with cold milk. You can make a smoothie. But you probably do want to have some banana in it to restore electrolytes and your potassium as well. Let's go to, we can hold that here for a second. And now I'm going to share a few things that won't be on my screen. So I'm going to keep moving along because, oh my gosh, this is so much fun and exciting. Okay, we're going to talk about duct tape. Okay, and back to the feet with duct tape. If you have plantar's warts, or you know somebody who has plantar's warts, you take duct tape over the plantar wart for 3 days. 3 days, pull it off. If the plantar wart still did not come off, you repeat that until another 3 days until the plantar wart is gone. It will work. So that most people do have duct tape in their home. So that could be another healing remedy. Okay, speaking about tape, there's tape you could buy for scars. Okay, that if you've had surgery or you have scarring, there's types of tape that has silicone in it, and it can help heal the scars. I think what helps heal my scars more than anything has been vitamin E at 1200 IUs a day. That will start breaking down scar tissue like never before. But why I'm talking about this, the tape for scars, it's a natural way to put it on your skin, areas that you might say, I'd like to have some Botox, or I'd like these wrinkles to be a little less, or or lines on your face. You can use this scar tape at night, cut out the pieces to fit that would go on your face, and you use that. It could take 1 to 2 weeks at night, but here again, it's a more natural option, and instead of getting the Botox. Okay. Isn't this fun? These little tidbits. Maybe you want to whiten your teeth, right? It takes 1 strawberry, 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Make a paste. Okay, this is an old remedy. Make a paste with 1 strawberry, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and keep it on your teeth about 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. And you can repeat this until your teeth start whitening. It might take a week or two. But after you do this, it's important to brush your teeth. Some people have a lot of sensitivity to the nerves or hot and cold, on their teeth. And you want to make sure there isn't any sugar left even from the strawberry, but that's a really old remedy. Another fun remedy, okay, it's just so much fun sharing this stuff. If people, maybe you have dandruff, does anyone have, it could be a male, a female, have dandruff or an itchy scalp? Okay. This is so cool. All right. So the substance that is in even prescription shampoos for dandruff, this is what can replace that, is a tablespoon of aspirin. A tablespoon of aspirin in your shampoo bottle. That's as if it's a quart. If it's not a quart, then adjust it. Maybe you'll do half of a tablespoon, or maybe you'll do a teaspoon to a small amount. Try it on yourself. Rinse your hair with it really well. Okay, and you have to leave it on 5 to 10 minutes, and then rinse it out again. It is incredible for dandruff. Okay. And there's a component in the aspirin that actually does start healing the follicles in the scalp. So that that's fun too. Um, okay, we're gonna do just a couple more tidbits and then we'll go back to the slides. I want to talk about banana pills. Okay, we're coming into a season where people tend to get poison ivy. So a banana pill, the inside of a banana pill, rub it on the poison ivy. It will help with the itching. It will really help with the itching, and it will help potentially the poison ivy to go away. I really shouldn't say anything's an absolute. These are all suggestions. I'm not making any medical claims, but it's so cool how nature is here to help us, and look and search for, okay, what are some other options? Um, Also with poison ivy, and it's, you might have it in your house, you might not have it, but CBD is incredible topically and internally for poison ivy. It really works. It also works to as a repellent, but we'll come to some other ideas for that, but it just really works. Mosquitoes will not bother you. They do not like the CBD at all. So again, we're coming into spring, summer, places around the water. You might, have some natural bug spray, okay, or bug repellent that way. It's also very, very good to avoid sunburn, but yet get brown, is if you can use your CBD that way. It's a wonderful tool. Let's see, I want to mention yams for hot flashes. Yams, not sweet potatoes. There's a difference. If you use a yam and you start eating maybe a half a one a day, if you're having hot flashes, you might want to do that more in the evening time, and let it work in the liver, gallbladder, your endocrine system all night long. So you might want to, have a yam or so on hand too. Okay, let's go down to suffering from constipation or indigestion. So there are a couple things here. And again, let's say you're traveling, you're on a trip, or or maybe in your own garden, you're going to grow some beets. A fresh steamed beet absolutely can help you if you're in a situation and you are constipated. You don't have anything else with you, or you're not sure in your home, maybe you don't have some flaxseed or some other fiber, but the beet has a bit of fiber in it, and it really helps to start loosening up the bowels in a really comfortable way. The fennel seed that you see right under the beets, I just love fennel seeds, okay? And a lot of times if there's problems with constipation, a person may not be digesting really well. They may have some gas, they may have some bloating. Fennel seeds, oh my goodness, is even chewing a few of these seeds. You might take about 10 of them or 15 of them, and just chew them. If that's too much, then take a little less. But after I don't know if some of you've been in restaurants, I have been, where they have a little cup of fennel seeds there. They're more or less in Indian restaurants, but they'll have fennel seeds. You want to have fennel seeds on hand. It's medicinally, it helps with the gas, the bloating, the digestion. Um, oh yeah, this is great. And let's go on to cloves, okay? So that if you have a real acidic stomach, if you have parasites, chewing on a clove, or maybe you're going to make some cinnamon and clove tea, which is also very good for blood sugar balance. I love cinnamon. It helps with blood sugar balance. There are people who put it in their coffee, a little coconut oil and a little bit of clove in their coffee. And why? It's because your blood sugar doesn't drop as much when you have caffeine. I'm pretty sensitive to caffeine. I can't. I, you would not want me to talk on this class right now if I didn't adjust my coffee to help my sugar regulate. But anyways, and cloves are very good for your stomach as well, good for digestion. And most people have cloves in their house. You might boil some and drink some of that clove water, add a little honey into it. But let's talk about coconut oil. Let's talk about coconut oil. That's a must to have on hand for me. So there's different things you could do with coconut. Let's say you're going to use it as a conditioner for your skin, a moisturizer. This is how you use it. Most people put it on at night and they keep it on all night long. I think if you do that, it clogs the pores, okay? But here's the way you can use it that will work well as a moisturizer. And put it on your face, okay? And get a warm water, and then rinse it off and and you take your rag and make it, your wash rag, even warmer as to what you can tolerate. Leave it on your face for a minute or two. That will help your skin receive all the moisture from the coconut oil. Coconut oil, oh my gosh, it has so many other medicinal properties to it. But let me mention this one. Some of you might have heard of pulling. What the pulling does, and you use coconut, it's a method of how to strengthen and heal your gums. Okay, so you take, let's say, about a teaspoon of coconut oil. You swish it around in your mouth, and you swish it around. You let it set in your mouth. Just let your gums soak it up. Do not swallow it. There's a lot of bacteria in that coconut. You don't want to swallow it. Swish it around a minute or two, and then spit it out. Okay, if you have bleeding gums, if you have receding gums, this is a wonderful natural conditioner for your gums, coconut oil. You may have to do this multiple times. And here's the thing, when we're talking about these type of medicinals in our house and we use nature for healing, it's important for people to be patient, okay? Be patient and allow it time to start healing in the system and in your body. Just nothing really does come overnight. Nothing goes away overnight, but we can learn how to get in the rhythm of what it is. I really am a big advocate of mindfulness. Communicate to that, whether it's the cloves, whether it's basil, whether it's the coconut. Communicate with that plant, with nature, and already say thank you. Thank you for helping me. Thank you for giving me more direction on how to work with this, in my body. We become more mindful. And a lot of what you learn in Collier Collective, and you're learning from Tommy Monty, all the leaders in their company, is that we take responsibility. We become more aware and mindful and be willing to make the changes, be willing to learn all right, how to do something differently, how to treat something even differently. And that's what you're getting presented here today. You will have options if for some reason, let's go to another one that's probably not in the notes here, but I want to talk to you about cayenne pepper. I want to talk to you about capsicum. So if you get yourself in a situation, oh my gosh, I just really cut my leg. I just really cut my fingers and I'm at home and maybe you can't get out to the emergency room. And this truly happened with my son when he was young. I shared this with a few of you. So he was running, playing, came in the front door. The metal strip of the front door was loose and truly cut two of his toes. Okay, it was so intense, and blood was gushing out everywhere. And here's what I did. I went and got some cayenne pepper and I put it right where all the bleeding was, and it stopped immediately. So the cayenne coagulates the blood, okay? It will stop bleeding. It is so incredible. You want this on hand. You probably do have it in your cupboard for cooking. If you do buy it separately as a capsule, it will be stronger in what's called heat units. Cayenne is measured in heat units. So when you buy the capsule, it'll be even stronger in heat units. So that's what you might want to use medicinally. The cayenne pepper can also be used medicinally to interfere with someone having a heart attack. This truly, truly happens. They put cayenne pepper under the tongue and they will stop having a heart attack. This should be in your first aid kit, cayenne pepper. Another thing with cayenne, another word for cayenne, by the way, is capsicum. Okay. And it's not that the plant is hot itself. When you put it near anything in your body, topically or internally, it immediately draws the blood to that area. Immediately. And that's what creates the heat. Isn't this fascinating how perfectly designed nature is and we are, and how to have some of these options? Another thing that cayenne will do is stop internal bleeding. So that goes back to an ulcer. If some of you have ever had an ulcer, or you know someone who's had an ulcer, it will heal an ulcer so quickly. One of the biggest herb companies in this country, but is global, started because the owner healed himself with capsicum, cayenne pepper, for his ulcers he was plagued with for so many years. Cayenne pepper is naturally so high. It's one of the herbs that is the highest in vitamin C. Another thing about cayenne pepper that you may have in your closet, cupboard, in the kitchen, when you mix it with any other herb, do you know what it does? It activates it. It makes it even stronger. That's why we use cayenne in a number of our formulas, but you can use cayenne with, this is the other thing I did when I did the 10 garlics and the 2 glasses of apple cider vinegar, is I did the lemon, the water, and cayenne pepper and honey. Okay, that's like a hot toddy drink. Some people add whiskey into it, but you could use lemon, like a tablespoon of lemon. You could put in, you have to regulate your cayenne depending on how hot the IUs are with it, but the heat units are. So you might want to regulate that for yourself and add honey. It is wonderful for sore throats. It is so good for coughs. I, just again, these are some things you just might want to try. Back to the cayenne, okay? If you melt coconut oil, I'm going to tell you a salve you can make yourself for your joints. If you have inflammation or sore feet or a sore joint, or maybe you have a sore bunion, maybe you have whatever it is, melt coconut oil, okay? And you put like if you do a half a cup, let's say a half a cup of coconut oil, and then you could put in a teaspoon of cayenne, half teaspoon to a teaspoon. It'll depend on what your tolerance could be for the heat. And let it cool. After you melt it, mix it together, let it cool. You just made yourself a little balm, for to put on a joint. It's amazing how it can pull the pain, and calm that down, but really pull the pain right out. Okay, Tommy, let's go a little further here. So that's okay. Where garlic, we definitely touched on that. And lemon. One of the other things that I want to mention with lemon here, this is interesting. Mixing lemon with a little baking soda, little lemon juice with a little baking soda, it will cut BO immediately. It's amazing how it will work to minimize the odor coming through your body. Now, based on a situation I went through last year, so I've had a number of lymph nodes taken out of my arms. And the thing that they didn't tell me is, oh dear God, okay, deodorant hardly works anymore. Okay, it's a whole different game, not having some of the lymph nodes there and the whole thing. So, oh, we're getting this in writing, right? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm adding more things on, but you can take it from, Tommy's going to share some of this info.
Yeah, we're going to share the links to these blog articles that we're scrolling through here, so you'll have most of it.
Okay, great. And then so using the baking soda and the lemon juice is so purifying. And but you could use that for, you can even throw a little bit of that, like if you have stinky washcloths, if you have towels, or if you have things you just need to get the odor out of, have lemons on hand, lemons and baking soda. It's just beautiful, all that you could do with it. Back to a little bit of baking soda. I know I'm throwing a lot out there with all of you, and I definitely want to get to a few more these recipes, touch on them, but especially for Linda, I want to get to sinus infections too. But baking soda, okay? Clean your hairbrushes in very hot water with a tablespoon of baking soda in a cup. Clean your toothbrushes, on a regular basis, very hot water with baking soda. It will kill the bacteria out of there. Most people do not clean or change out their toothbrushes very often. Okay. This is real important. We have so much bacteria, we're exposed to in our mouth, and we clean it, we put it away. But the real hot water in the back with the baking soda is really good to sanitize, especially that toothbrush. Okay, let's go a little further, Tommy. And yeah, I want to touch this, and turmeric is so good for a sore throat. I want to touch on some, let's go a little further. All of you kind of have had a little more exposure with that, with the turmeric. The cough syrup, I make up such an amazing cough syrup with the lemon. Although I put clove into it, I put some garlic into it, and I put some honey into it. A lot of people are dealing with coughs, upper respiratory conditions. Okay, let's go a little further. Cucumbers is so good for helping. It is like an antioxidant, but it helps the skin. You've seen that in spas where they take and they give you cucumber juice and cucumber oils. They make put cucumbers over your eyes. Cucumbers are so good for your skin. Even just eating cucumbers are so good for your skin as well. All right, let's go a little further. Okay, and anemia. Let people who are low, and again, I'm reading some of this stuff, but I love working with ghee, Ghee, you know, equivalent to butter, but it's non-dairy. Ghee, here's a really good remedy for anemia with the dates, with the milk and the ghee. Another really good herb that you can have and grow, I really recommend you grow some dandelion. It is naturally high in iron. It is so good if you're deficient in iron. If you can pull it out of your yard, add it into your salads, the leaves of dandelion. But if you have animals, going in your backyard or wherever, of course, you don't want to do that. But you can there's dandelion tea you could get. And this brings me to the idea of tea. A lot of you have maybe teas on hand. Find out if the tea bags were made from or plastic, or were there microplastics put in the tea bag. Most companies are putting microplastics in the tea bag, so the tea bags will last longer, they will hold up better. Even when you make your tea, they won't fall apart as well. Do your research on that. You might want to just buy bulk tea, or you might want to really check out what are those tea bags made of. Because tea, like the original Lipton tea did not have the microplastics in them, but the Lipton tea is really good for eye infections. When you could, it's like make a little heating pad over your eyes with a real warm tea bag, can help draw out infection. Chamomile tea can be very healing to relax your body and to help the brain. Oh my gosh, chamomile tea is an antidote for addiction. It really helps the brain resist addiction. It helps the body to absorb and activate calcium. I love working with that herb. And you've heard of sleep pillows. They usually have lavender in them, and they have chamomile flowers in them. You might want to have a bowl of fresh chamomile, or the dried flowers, near your bed, or some lavender to help you to sleep. Now, here's an interesting one. Some of these you're not going to find you easily, because some of these are so old, of herbalists who have taught me this. But let's say you have a hard time sleeping, chopping up some onions and putting it right by your bed at night. Take a whiff of it. And this is if you have a hard time falling asleep. Just take a whiff of it. And maybe you need to do it a couple times. Okay, and just let it right there by your bed. Now, I'm going to give you another remedy I heard. Not that I heard, I've used. So you take a raw egg, put it in water, put it by your bed at night. It breaks up negative energy. It really does. And if that egg cracks open by morning, it did its job. So that's another little trick you could use, and again, you have eggs in the house, you could try it with an egg.